Hey there, YouTube. AT here once again, Diary of a Cover Band Guitar Player, Episode 3. I spend most of my week figuring out what it is that I want to talk about, what it is I want to do to try to make these interesting, what I want to do to try to impart useful knowledge onto people out there, and who my target audience, my target demographic might be. I don't know just yet, so kind of investing in the unknown with just a little bit of faith here that this may turn into something useful, something that people will enjoy down the road. I am a cover band musician from Ohio, and I've had the good fortune of moving up in the ranks to a good cover band. We have very good gigs all over Ohio that pay very well, makes it worth my time to go out and do this every weekend. I've invested between 25 and 35 years into this. While I do consider myself to be a proficient musician, I equally have been successful in applying effort to a good stagecraft. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, stagecraft, how you perform on stage, because quite honestly, being a good player alone is vastly different from being able to entertain people and to connect with your audience. There are many guitar players out there that I've seen in the local music scene who are spectacular, but for whatever reason, the crowds don't pay attention to them. The crowds aren't into them. It could be the way they dress. It could be their personality. It could be any number of things. While I, a skilled musician with an ear trying to, figure out things accurately, may appreciate what they do more so than the average person. You have to remember it's the average person who you're entertaining. So there are many facets to being good on stage. One of them is your personality, your performance personality. If you're a guitar player, one of the most important things is that you live in the moment of the music, that you feel the groove of the music, and that you try to sell some sort of a connection to the audience. In other words, eye contact with the audience goes a long way. Moving to the beat of the music, believe it or not, just looking like you're having a good time goes a long way. A smile directed at people in the audience while you're playing goes a long way, particularly the females. What you must remember in any cover band, for it to be successful, for you to draw people out, one of the most important demographics that you make an impression on are females. And as much as it may seem closed-minded to suggest that be good-looking, decent-looking females, when you have people showing up that are of that demographic, you're going to draw out the men along with that, especially if you're playing in the bars and the clubs. So it's important that you connect with them. One of the things that I've been told many times by many different people is, I love your personality on stage. I can't tell you it's something I even work at. A lot of it is who you are naturally and what you do. I've always enjoyed being somewhat of the exhibitionist and performing, but my number one hero of all time is Angus Young, a true performer. Gary Richrath of REO Speedwagon in his prime, even though you might think of REO Speedwagon and question the rock and roll credentials because of the radio hits of that band, you're talking about a band that had 13 years of rock and roll street cred before they broke out with their first huge hit. And Gary Richrath was the real deal. The man with a Les Paul and a Marshall, no tons of effects. He moved like fun with the music. He connected with the crowds. He was attractive. He smiled. And all those things matter when you're out there. They matter to your stagecraft and people coming out and watching you. How you dress is so important too, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I'm going to draw a quote from Gene Simmons of Kiss here. While I don't normally quote Gene Simmons because I know his credibility is questionable because his obligation seems to be more to the money-making aspect than it is devotion to the music, Gene Simmons once told Bruce Kulick, who's a fantastic musician, probably the best overall credentialed musician to ever be in the Kiss lineup, Bruce, you're not the performer we're looking for yet. And Gene said, and I quote, "You don't play guitar with your hands, you play guitar with your dick." That sounds kind of shallow, and it's like something you would expect Gene Simmons to say, but there's some truth to that. There is sensuality to playing a guitar well. In other words, you feel every note you play. You feel every pick attack. You feel every strike. You connect with the dynamics of that instrument. You know that instrument. And the way you sell it to the crowds is to move to the beat of the music. And yes, there is sensuality to that. Many times I've watched guitar players that just beat on a guitar and they know only two dynamics: really hard or almost not at all. And I've said, man, if they fuck like they play guitar, I feel bad for whoever's getting the other end of that rod. True story. There is some sort of mystical value to connecting with that instrument and finding the sensuality of it. Now on to how you dress on stage. Take a look at the successful bands out there that have been in for a long time, that are maybe now old enough and more mature. You don't want the cheesy leather spandex shit of the 80s, but look at those. Look at like Night Ranger and Styx and some of these bands that have been there and done that. They're older guys now, but if you notice, they dress in nice button-up shirts that have attractive patterns on them. They wear nice colors. They're unbuttoned in the right places, buttoned in the others. They usually wear some sort of stylish jean, something that looks good. They might wear black shoes, or they might wear black boots, or they might wear some sort of boots. But they put the thought and the time into their wardrobe and how they look on stage, and they didn't become total cheeseballs about it. There was a band years ago that I used to go and watch, and this guitar player was out of sight. Probably one of the best I've ever heard on a cover band stage, certainly, and probably one of the best could have been signed. This guy's up there in like a fucking purple, sorry, let me read. This guy is up there in fucking purple sweatpants and a Big Johnson t-shirt. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. Dude looks like he crawled right out of the thrift store. And nobody's responding to this guy like I am. Why? Because I can see past the fact that he didn't put any effort into what he wears or any effort into how he looks. And I knew he was just a killer musician. I could appreciate it, but other people couldn't. So you need to wear something decent on that stage if you want to go out there and get gigs and be taken seriously, especially if you're auditioning for bands. Now, I believe, just because personal appearance is important to me, I'm in the gym several days a week, and I have been most of my adult life. I might be 41 years old, but I'm in great shape. My body fat is damn near close to the single digits. Yes, I work out and train like a bodybuilder. Yes, I pretty much look like it. And no, you don't have to do that. But you also don't want to be a big slob either and be up there on stage. Put some effort into your appearance. Get in decent shape. When you go out and you want to vie for a spot in a really good band, looking the part is important. You don't want to show up looking like you're completely unkept. And I'm not trying to be superficial. I'm talking about market conditions here. I'm talking about getting down to, you want to make a name for yourself, take care of yourself, address all factors that you can. So I'm heading out tonight. I've got a gig in Kenton, Ohio tonight. So I got a little ways to drive. And I'm going to go have some fun tonight and do what I do. Had a private party booked for last night that canceled due to some really unfortunate circumstances in someone's family. But our thoughts and prayers are with those folks because it was really bad. So in any event, I'm AT. This is the living diary of a cover band guitar player. And I will be touching on all sorts of topics. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. And if you wish, hit the like button, subscribe, follow me. The more response I get, the more I'm likely to do these things. Have a good one.